Hi everyone.
Today my guest is Nikolett Fabian,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Nikolette,
So
yes.
Nick is a master's student at the International Relations Department of Budapest, Corvinus University. She has participated in a lot of international projects funded by Erasmus Plus. And actually, I met Nick in one of those Erasmus Plus programs conducted in Bates, Germany, where Nick was representing Hungary and I was representing Denmark at that point of time. Today, she will tell interesting cultural aspects about Hungary. And without taking too much time, maybe Nick, for the audience, they would like something to hear from you as a short introduction. So go ahead.
Yeah. Sure, thank you. Well, as you know, I'm a student at Corvinus University of Budapest. I'm studying about international relations, and basically it's all connected to that I used to be a volunteer and I participated in international projects before. Because in this way I could meet so many people. I have a knowledge of cultural differences, and I became so interested also in the outside world because many times I used to travel in Europe, but I wanted to know more about the rest of the world. So yeah, basically that's what led me to learn about international relations and to understand the system better. Yes.
So tell us something about the Erasmus Plus program and your experience with Erasmus Plus.
Oh yeah. Well, it all started for me in 2014, I think. Yeah, back then I was 17 years old, and I had my first project with my best friend. We went to Vienna, which is just close to Hungary. So it's like in Austria, the capital of Austria. And we spent there 10 days, and it was so amazing. There were many groups from Turkey, from Austria, from Germany, and also oh, from Hungary, of course, and I think also from Croatia. They were the organizers of that. And since that, through the years, I I had many opportunities to learn and to share. And also these projects, Erasmus Plus gives you the opportunity to travel to other countries, and Erasmus Plus can make it possible that you have free accommodation and free food. Otherwise, you still need to cover your travel expenses, but that's not that big deal compared to all the experience that you get.
Yeah. Tell us something about your volunteering experiences, especially the European Solidarity Corps.
Yes. Yeah. So since I was already familiar with the European project with Erasmus Plus, I knew that I want to try the European Solidarity Corps project as well. It gives you a bigger, like a wider knowledge about a different culture, and I wanted to live in another country. And with this opportunity, I could move to another country. So usually there are always organizations, and I also have a host organization where I arrived, but I also have a standing organization. So it's a two-way thing. And in this way, you can feel completely safe because you have support also from your home country, but you also get support from the place where you arrive and where you are going to work. And anytime if you have any problems, you can go and ask both of the parties to help you. So it's super cool. And in this way, you are basically volunteering.
Yeah.
So you don't get paid with this opportunity, but you are either provided by food or you get money for food. So in this way, you need maybe a little budget for yourself, but we also get some pocket money. It was really not much, so it's not like a European salary, but still it was fine.
Yeah, I think it's still a really wonderful experience to to meet, connect with different people around the world, and give you more new insights, and I think that should be a great advantage.
Yes.
Right.
And my opportunity, it was in France, to move to France, because
Ah,
at the end it was completely fitting to the picture, because I had half of a gap year. So it was not a full year because I still had to finish my thesis.
uh-huh.
But so that took like 6 months out of the time with my final exams, and then I still had like 7 months left, because after that I wanted to continue studying at my master's, where I got into. So
Okay.
that's why this program just fit into this.
Great. So now it's time to talk and learn something about Hungarian culture. Hungary is well known for, top scientists, nice wines, fruit brandies, and River Danube, etc. So there are a lot of
Yes,
things about Hungary. So could you tell a brief idea about Hungarian cultural heritage?
yes, sure. Thank you for your question. Um, I would say that we have many inventors, like many famous Nobel Prize winners. It's really true, but many people don't know that where these things come from, because we are just using them. So when you asked me this in advance, this question, when I just took a look, I was thinking like I should learn a bit more about this, and because we learn about this in school, but when I realized that also the pen, like what we use to the ball pen, it
Yep.
was invented by a Hungarian, and
Okay.
usually we use it like every day.
Yeah. That's true.
and and even the safety matches which you
Mhm.
can light up, they were
Yeah.
found out by a Hungarian. So yeah, it's crazy that these things, like even though the lighter became like more popular nowadays, better than the matches, it's crazy that all these things. Yeah, and otherwise, also with music, we had two very famous composers in the beginning of the 20th century, and one of them, he made it possible that an international way of understanding music became possible, and how to teach music. So it's the Kodai method, and
Okay.
so at many parts of the life, it became possible to have an easier way of doing the things. Also, the first computer with memory was
Ah,
invented by a Hungarian. So right
very.
now,
Yeah.
yeah, even though the principle was not invented by a Hungarian, but the first computer itself, yes. Otherwise, about our heritage, I think we are a big mixture, as we are in Eastern Central Europe.
Yeah.
So like we always had influences from abroad, because we are not that big country. We are
Yeah.
like pretty small, but still we had sometimes the Germans here, then we had the Austrians here, then we had the Turkish, then we had the Russians. So we were always influenced by something, and nowadays we are even more, we are becoming just more and more like the Western world, because we are part of the European Union. But
Yeah.
still, I think we are managing to keep our cultural heritage with many festivals, and I think now it became more important in these globalizing times that we keep the traditions, and like the elder pass
Yeah.
values to the Hungarian youngsters as well. Yeah.
Interesting. So, what are the major Hungarian cultural values? For example, if I say about Germany, the things that comes to my mind are quality, precision. Everything is managed well, organized well, planning. So, what are the cultural values that comes into your mind when you talk about Hungary?
Well, I think we, regarding our history, just recent history, we were under the USSR
Yeah.
occupation, kind of occupation. So I think collectivity, but
Ah,
also earlier, collectivity was a really important part of our values. So we are more based on a community line and not on liberal values of the individuals. But it's really important now that it's changing, because the youngsters, we are all getting a big influence of the West. So it's changing now with social media and everything. So I think it's a double standard. So you can look at it on the way that family and communities are super important for the people, but also individual values, like you can shed some light on that lately.
Great. So I have another question regarding Hungarian language, Magyar, right? So I heard it's one of the most difficult languages to learn for outsiders. Also, Magyar is distantly related to Finnish and Estonian. Is that true?
It's true, yes.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with our neighboring countries. So it really came from somewhere far away. And yeah, it used to be like, how is it called? Classified as an Ugarish, Finn-Ugarish language. And but when we look at the Finnish language, it looks like that they don't have anything in common, because the two languages, they separated 2000 years ago. So
Okay.
since that, it became like completely different, because I used to be in Finland as well, and when I just saw their letters, I saw the similarities that they have also a lot of E's, the letter
Okay.
E in their sentences, because that's the most common also in Hungary. But besides that, not too many things are in common. Just the most ancient words, like blood, it goes like fair in Hungarian, but in Finnish it's vere.
Okay. Right. So
Yeah.
is English widely spoken in Hungary?
I think
Or
not that much. Like
okay.
compared to Denmark, for example, there
Yeah.
I could meet like someone who was 70 years old, and he could still give me the instructions which train I have to take. So like when I didn't find the platform, he could tell me, and there was no problem. It was
Yeah.
completely fine. But
Yeah.
I think in Hungary it's more like the young people
Mm-hmm.
who are studying now English in schools.
Okay.
Earlier it was the Russian,
Uh-huh.
because it was obligatory to learn Russian. And so the older generation, even though they learned Russian, they didn't want to learn it because it was obligatory. So it's something like, yes, you have to do that, but no, I don't want, because you are rebelling against this system. And but in business and in banking system and with international fields, I think people learned English.
And how do you greet people in Hungary? Is it shake hands, kiss, or hugs? So what is the perfect greeting when you meet someone from Hungary?
Good question,
Yeah.
because it depends whether it's a colleague. Because in case it's a colleague, usually you say hi. It can be a hi, but it
Mhm.
depends on the environment a lot. And usually we start off with a handshake if it's
Okay.
professional. Otherwise, if you meet the friends of your friends, it can be two kisses, usually. Also in family, we have two kisses, but in close family, you can have only one kiss. And
Okay.
for example, with my close friends, we give the hug. So it's a big mixture.
Yeah, good. So, and how to build a trust with a Hungarian team member at work?
Well, I think it takes time, because even though it's easy to make friends, but to have like a real friendship, we are more like closed. So for that you can easily go out and you can just I don't know, drink wines or drink beers together. That's really common to do. And for this reason, in this moment, sometimes you can have like very good conversations, but to open up the other person, that takes time.
Okay. And also, I read somewhere that, like Hungarians talk with their hands. Like the Hungarians use a lot of hand gestures. Is it true?
I think I just did some things, but it's not that visible. But yes, yes, I think it's true. It's true because also when someone doesn't understand you, so for example, my boyfriend, he's French, and when my parents try to talk with him, even though my mom can speak really good in English, uh, they usually use their hands to explain the things. It makes the things more alive and more understandable for us. So yes, I think it's true.
Okay. Is there any gesture that is considered as rude in Hungary?
Well, the middle finger for sure.
Okay.
It's like yeah, it's international, even though
It's
in England and in
you
the
know,
UK it's different.
yeah. In French, if you put like this, it means you're zero or worthless. But for in other countries like super, right, really nice.
Yes, yes. For us, this means super, so no problem with this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think we don't really have, but there is one thing that you shouldn't do if you are in a restaurant or if you are just invited to a friend's place. You shouldn't put your elbows on the table because that is considered rude. Like if you are doing this, that's like the sign that you are bored. And
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Interesting. What are the ideal gifts to give to a Hungarian friend?
yeah. Well, I think so that you can. It's always nice to give something which is made by hand, or
Okay.
because that means that you were really thinking of that person
Okay.
and not just like don't buy socks for the people or don't buy mugs. Yeah, so it's always nicer if the other person feels that you were thinking really of him or her, or like yeah, even if you don't have like a good idea, it's better to give something more personal, even if maybe maybe you misunderstood something, but it's nicer
Okay.
still.
Great. And what are the good topics to discuss with a Hungarian?
I think in the first place, food.
Ah, okay.
Food is really nice to discuss about. Otherwise, I think that you can talk about the big things of life. So if you go into deep topics, no one will look at you in a weird way because we love more the deeper conversations better than chit-chatting.
Okay.
So yeah, this is how I feel about this too.
Okay.
And yes.
And which topics are taboo in Hungary?
Lately, I would say that politics became a more like taboo topic, and it's hard for me because I'm learning about politics in my university a lot, and it's everywhere around me. But still, I think it can nowadays separate and divide people because we can have very different opinions, and also within families, if you are supporting someone else, you can have like disputes about this, like disputes. So I think it's not a good topic nowadays because we have a really scarce situation. Like, yeah, it's pretty hard nowadays.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I was surprised to know that chess is one of the most popular game in Hungary. Is it true?
Well, some of the classes already in primary school, they have classes, chess classes, sorry. So yes, chess classes, and I think most of the Hungarians know at least the basic steps of chess, and you can also find it in any public place almost where you can go inside and drink something. Usually they have something under the bar.
Okay.
Yeah, the how is it called? The Great Gambit, maybe?
Yeah. Great gambit. Yeah.
Yeah. With this nowadays, people even talk about it more, and yeah, it's amazing what this series made to people. Like they started playing again. Like Google searches also show the statistics of Google searches showed that I don't know, millions of people looked at just the way how you can play chess.
Okay.
So maybe again it will become really popular.
Yeah. Okay. And when we talk about culture, one important aspect when it comes about different countries are the interesting festivals. So, which are some of the interesting festivals in Hungary?
So culturally, more like culturally.
Yeah.
Well, then there is one which I would truly advise for anyone who comes to Hungary, but it's pretty far away from Budapest, from the capital. It's like 3 hours or 2.5 hours away by car. But I used to be there 2 times lately, or also last year. And it's about chasing away the winter. And
Oh,
here it's like a carnival, but people wear like masks which are really scary, and sometimes the
that would be
little kids
interesting.
don't like it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is called busójárás. It's at Mohács, and it's for 1 week approximately, or 5 days. And also families have this tradition there that they are giving these big masks because they are made from I think from sheep. They use the wool of the sheep, and yes, it's really traditional. They are really well made, and they can stand for decades without changing. And
Oh,
yes, so families pass it to each other from to the descendants. They are really taking care of these things.
so it happens once in a year? Which
Yes,
month?
it's usually at the end of February, so soon it will be. So just before, because for us it's winter time now, like compared to the southern hemisphere. And yes, so for us it's at the end of February, and in that way you just you can go there, but there are 2 days which are always the weekend. So
Okay.
it changes each year which are the days, but 2 days in the weekend. On the Saturday night you usually have a big bonfire in the
Okay.
middle of the town, and you can go there and dance around it and dance with the people in the masks, and that's super nice. That's the way how you say goodbye to winter.
Interesting. Which Hungarian food you recommend to a foreign friend?
Well, yes, then I would recommend a soup which is
Oh,
called guyash, and it
uh-huh.
has potatoes, carrots, and we also put a cream inside. It gives the taste of this food usually. It's a mixture from different spices, and paprika. Hungarian paprika is like
Okay.
usually the base of all of our foods. And yeah, this soup is really specific, and I think it is considered as super Hungarian. So, and
Okay.
it usually have meats inside, but always one type of meat. But there are all types of meat that you can make it from,
Okay.
except for the fish. So it's
Okay.
usually the meat of pork or chicken. Yeah.
Okay. Now tell us about your experience working with different nationalities.
Oh well. Well, there used to be this project where we participated together, and the first part of it was kept in Italy, and I took place at both of the parts of the project. And in Italy, it was like a big mess. So I don't want to like offend anyone, but
Yeah.
we didn't keep the time. It was like hard to know what's going to be next in the schedule. But when this project, like with the same stuff and everyone, it was made in Germany. It was
Yeah.
like tuck 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 tuck.
Everything
It was,
planned. Yeah, everything planned,
yes,
organized. Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
planned, everything well organized. If you are not there, you feel bad because everyone else is there. So yes, you shouldn't be late in this moment. Mm, Otherwise, I have the feeling that people from the south, like talking about Europe, in Greece, in Cyprus, in Italy, in Spain, they are more free with the
Yeah.
things. They are not worried. They feel like that they have time, and it's not bad. It's not bad necessarily. Like this, if you go there, you can relax. You don't feel like that you are obliged to do anything. But while in the north, it's a little bit different,
Hmm.
as I understood. But
Okay.
yes, in Hungary we are between the two, but I think we are more like Italians,
Yeah.
unfortunately, but
Yeah.
or not unfortunately. Yeah.
You lived in France, so what was your experience in France, French culture, and how do you compare with Hungary?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. In France, I used to live at the south of France. So
Hmm.
here people more they are also like they are not worried, they are relieved. They are
Yeah.
they are fine with everything, and there are many small villages here. So they don't have like big cities. But even though like if you leave Montpellier, for example, because that's the closest biggest city
Hmm.
around us, that city, you just leave it and you arrive to the countryside where there are many little villages. And what you realize for the first time, I think, if you are arriving by bus or by car, that people, when they drive, it's just crazy. They just they just put the alert sign, like the two
Yeah.
indexes at the side, and they stop to talk to each other. And it's really common. You stop in the middle of, not in the middle of the road, maybe at the side of the
Yeah.
road, but you take half of the road and it's fine. Everyone does that. Or you just want to go into the bakery because you only want a baguette. So
Yeah.
that's fine. You just leave your car in front of the shop and you stop at the main road and it's fine. And even though there are the buses coming, the bus knows that I don't know when that man will leave, so I will just take my way in another way. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's completely crazy.
Yeah, I
But
understand. Yeah, because I was studying in Germany, my first part of my study, and then I went to France for the second part. So I can imagine the difference. It's from a completely structured one to like a free town.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. And I didn't know that you were also in France before.
yeah, yeah.
It's
I
nice.
was in Paris for 1 year. Yeah, studied there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I think the French culture is it's really nice, and but it's more like an individualistic culture. And also these elements shows that you can do anything what you want, and you are not afraid of the consequences that much. Like you can
exactly.
stop anywhere, you can say what you want to say because
Yeah,
the freedom of expression is
yeah,
super
exactly.
important.
Yeah,
While in comparison in Hungary, we don't say usually the things out loudly. We keep it for ourselves
hmm,
until a while, and usually we wait until that point, which is too much. And in that point, when it's too much, we share the things. But until that point, you collected so many things emotionally which disturbed you, but you didn't give it out loud. So we have a big
Yeah,
dispute or something. But in France, it was really strange for me because they tell you immediately if they don't
yeah,
like something.
that's true.
And
Yeah,
and then you just have to cope with that.
yeah. So, what was your biggest cultural shock?
My biggest, mm, hmm, I think, because in France there are many communities, and
Yeah.
when I visited Marseille, I just saw that they took a goat into an apartment. They just
Okay.
they took out the goat from the house and they just took it into an apartment, and it was in the middle of a big city, so where like there
Okay.
were traffic and everything. And yeah, that was really weird for me.
Okay. One generic question I would like to ask is about 2020, a year with a lot of drama, the COVID-19 situation, travel bans, a lot of restrictions, closing downs, a lot of chaos. So, what is your take on that?
Well, it made my plans pretty different because I wanted to, like, I was basically commuting between two countries now because I half live in France and half in Hungary. But
Yeah.
my country, Hungary, closed its borders completely for the foreigners. So no one can enter except for business reasons or for other professional reasons, medical reasons, or if you are a student. Otherwise, you cannot come to the country. So this made everything more harder,
Yeah.
and also university and work, like everything became distant.
Yeah.
So it affects me a lot. My parents, for example, they live their life completely as they used to live it. Because my dad, he's working at constructions, and
Mhm.
there you don't have any problem. Like you can continue to paint the walls, you don't disturb anyone, you can still keep your distance.
Yeah.
And my mom, she's a doctor, so she needed to work even in this moment. And yeah, but it was really hard. But I'm happy because my friends and my family, they are not affected like
Yeah.
by COVID, or who used to be, they didn't have big symptoms.
Okay.
So
Great.
yes,
Yeah. So, the last question. What are your future plans and projects in mind?
I want to have my second master's degree for real. I really want to finish my university because it became super hard to concentrate on online
Yeah.
classes.
Yeah.
So that's the first main goal of mine.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I started to look for a job, and also for our last summer, I tried to look for a job, but with the COVID-19, it
Yeah.
became super hard to find one. So I hope that now it will change and I can find a job and start a career,
Yeah.
and then we will see. And maybe at the end of the year, I will try to leave for Australia for new
Wow.
experiences.
Great. Yeah.
Yes.
So, that's it for now, Nick. Thank you very much for your time. It was a great opportunity to learn a bit more about Hungarian culture. Thank you for your time, and maybe we can catch up again some point of time in future to see how things are progressing.
Yes,
Thank you
sure.
very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for the opportunity. It was really nice.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.